Motivation. Motivation is something that I think is for a lot of us, people kind of sit back and just wait for motivation to hit them. Are you motivated to work out? Are you motivated to start your day? Are you motivated to come home and make dinner or serve the kids? I mean, motivation is something that it's really hard to find in the mundane. But when you start getting into the big things, we often can find motivation quite easily. If you really, really want something, you're quite motivated. If you've dreamed of having a pool and the big house and the great cars and whatever it may be, I mean, you could talk to a 14-year-old boy right now, and I guarantee you, I know because I have a son, they would tell you the car that they want, and they can tell you exactly what it looks like, exactly what version it is. You know, I was dreaming of just driving a car in general, but my son tells me what car that he wants. I think it's so cool because he knows exactly what it is. But it got me thinking about true motivation. And what motivation can do for us is really spark us, really get started. What motivation can't do is fulfill us. Motivation can't take us to the finish line. Motivation can very often be a detractor from the very things we're aiming for. So this is where you talk about extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. So extrinsic motivation is stuff, the boat, the money, the house, life's biggest fun traps, right? You get the boat, but then you get out on the lake and you realize that your boat's really small. I remember getting a motorcycle and buying a motorcycle and riding it for like 3 weeks when I was like 21 years old and saying, my motorcycle's not big enough. It's really not big enough. Like if a car just comes over, I was too small. It was a 750. And I immediately thought I should have bought the 1200. You know, and that's a natural thing, right? But being extrinsically motivated, you'll meet a lot of people in life, especially in the financial world. You'll meet a lot of people in life who are very extrinsically motivated. They live for the greatest cars and the greatest homes and the greatest stuff and the greatest cufflinks and whatever it may be that's just better than everybody else. But every time they get it, it's empty. There's a hole. There's a hole in us when we focus our lives on extrinsic things. When we work strictly to get something, we often find a hole because you've got to fill the next one. The house was great, but if it only had this in it, it'd be perfect. Or I found the perfect place, but it just doesn't have a pool, so we're gonna have to do that now. Like whatever it may be, it's always something. I think I found myself in this loop when I was really young because I just wanted to make money so I could be free. So I didn't have to worry about college debt. So I didn't have to worry about not being able to afford a home and we could have a great life and I wouldn't sweat the small stuff. I just wanted to be able to have consistency in my financial picture. What you find is that consistency becomes something else. And in some ways, I'm very, very thankful and grateful that I decided to move from a smaller house to a bigger house. It's turned out to be good decisions in our lives, decisions that we grew with, as long as we didn't strictly focus on the thing as the goal. Intrinsically, when you motivate a different way, you motivate by the feeling you get. You motivate by feeling whole, by feeling joy. By the things it makes you feel. That's a motivation that you do this for free. If you work every day and you would go to work every day for free because you love what you do, that's intrinsically motivated work. You know, I've always loved in my role the ability to help people. And it's not just financially, it's the things you get to help them with, their biggest challenges with their families, challenges with their children, you know, when they're doing their estate plans and they're discussing maybe the estranged child and you get to learn about that conversation and help guide them through some of those processes. Having people come up with tears in their eyes thanking you for what you've been able to help them with that have nothing to do with what they hired you for is something that's so joyful and so fulfilling and I'm so grateful for in the course of the 2 decades I've been doing this, I never knew that something that revolved around extrinsically motivated money would give me such an intrinsically wonderful feeling of joy and happiness and gratefulness. I didn't know. I just didn't know. But I found out. I'll never forget, I had a client come up to me at a Christmas party, one of the first Christmas open houses we ever did, in my office. It was super crowded. My mom and my mother-in-law and my wife were literally working the party. They made all the food. They did all the stuff. We had no money to host it, but we did it. And I had a client come up to me. I probably had been doing it 6 to 9 months, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, "Without you, it would have been really difficult to get through this year. Thank you." And I remember feeling something I had never felt at work before, because I was always so focused on the work, I wasn't focused on the result and all the people we were helping. What a transformational moment in my life. What a small thing, the mundane, the ordinary, the things that led to a larger motivation. The motivation to do things that were much bigger than yourself. To help people is a big thing, and it's worth it, and you feel whole. It's not a whole. See, extrinsically, everything you get, all the stuff, just creates more stuff you need. You have a brand new Ferrari that now you got to park in a bigger garage. You need a bigger home. You need a better neighborhood. Whatever it is that you need right now that's extrinsically motivating you, if you can search to find the intrinsic joy, the happiness, the things it's going to provide. If the bigger house is going to provide the ability for the holidays for everyone to stay in one place, for your family to be together, for songs to be sung in a house that echo in a way that just change the dynamic of your family function, that's really special. And I can get on board with that. I can understand that. But I think the key component is to feel whole, we have to find the everyday stuff we're doing that may be ordinary, that may be mundane, but it motivates us because we feel joy in it, because we feel happiness, but happiness in a way that's fulfillment. And being whole and feeling whole means you're working towards your human potential. You're actually giving everything you got. And you're doing so for something bigger than yourself, not just you. If you're just building stuff for stuff, I'm not judging in any capacity. I definitely, I have a nice car. I can't tell you that I won't want a new car soon, okay? I don't know when, but I might want one. I definitely will figure out how I'll get it, and I'll work towards something. There are moments where extrinsic work makes sense, as long as you don't lose sight that feeling whole is much better than creating more holes in our lives. So I challenge you to think about the motivation, and you can go all the way into the ordinary again. And are you motivated to wake up? Are you motivated to work out? It's January, so that's a good conversation to have every year. Are you motivated for something? But what's really driving that motivation? I'm Scott Danner. Thank you for joining me. Comment below. What are some of the things that you find joy in every day? What are some of the motivational factors in your life that are so significantly different than maybe some other people that you know? What are the things that you do when you find yourself trying to keep up with the Joneses and maybe be a little bit more extrinsically motivated? How do you bring it back to the balanced part of your life? I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to understand what makes you click like that. I'm Scott. Thanks for joining me.